You're listening to WRUU-LP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul.
Check, check, 1, 2. Look like a little country, some rock and roll and blues. 'Cause we sure love playing for good people like you. Let me know if you can hear me. Check, check, 1, 2.
Welcome to Music Local and Sustainable, the radio show that features discussions with and the music of local musicians. I am your host, Dave Lake. Tonight we have...
But he's going to participate.
Tonight we have My Maiden Name at their rehearsal. My Maiden Name is a relatively new band in town, but they're going to be a big name soon, I'm sure. Welcome, My Maiden Name.
Thanks, Dave.
Hey.
All right.
Let's introduce the band. So who are you? Where are you from before coming to Savannah? And what do you play?
Okay, well, what was the first question?
Who are you? Who are you? And get as deep and metaphysical as you wish.
Yeah. Oh, no. You'll be sorry
I
you
thought
said
I was
that.
saying a difficult question.
Who am I? That is a difficult question. Who am I?
Who does society think you are?
Yes.
I don't know that.
Her name is Anne. She's the singer.
I wasn't thinking metaphysical.
Okay. So, I'm Anne. Anne Frances dos Santos is my name. I kept my maiden name, and so it's, for me, that's part of the meaning. I'm half Brazilian. It's hard to say where I was before here because I moved around a lot, but but I guess it was Florida right before here. I'm the vocalist. I started out in opera when I was in high school, taking private lessons, and then I competed in opera in Texas when I lived in New Mexico. But that was a long time ago, and then I just sang for fun, friends, family, until we met Jay, and we started writing music. Or Jay had he had a lot of songs that he had been working on already, and so we contributed with some lyrics and maybe a little bit of vocal melody here and there. So this has been an amazing experience for me. It's a great outlet and a way to express things that I can't express in other ways.
And she's not bound by English in her expression when she contributes lyrically. I guess some songs in Portuguese just can't contain the expression in just one language. I'm Jason. I play guitar in the band. I played guitar for several years, just sort of on the couch, watching TV, kind of strumming on the couch. And I had a lot of musical ideas. I'd never really been in a band before. But then Dennis started working in our office. Dennis was the new guy, and after a few months, I guess I was finally like, all right, what's your name?
What do you do
What is
for
this?
fun?
Yeah, what do you do for fun?
Yeah, just normal.
And Dennis says, well, I play bass guitar. I'm like, ooh, that's interesting. And then he said, my wife sings. And I was like, okay, well, clear your plans this weekend. I'm going to come over, and we're going to hang out. I had some song ideas that I had just kind of accumulated over the years. Some were very undeveloped, some were pretty much complete songs. And we kind of got together expecting just to goof off and eat some food and have a few beers and just hang out. But it became really clear that we were interested in trying to write some things. Everyone sort of had an interest in that. And I kind of played a bit of music for one of the songs that I sort of had on the shelf. And there was some discussion of pursuing it. Okay, fine. The next Monday, I came into the office, and Dennis and Ann apparently worked nonstop and had a full sheet of lyrics. And I was like, oh, okay. I wasn't expecting you to take it that seriously, but okay, I'm on board. And we wrote this song, and I thought it was really good. It was a much better version of it than I'd written by myself. These guys really added a lot. And I thought, oh, well, that's that. We've got a cool song. And I was like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. Well, wow, that's great. We got a song. Maybe someday we'll play it. And then they seemed very hungry for other song ideas. I was like, okay, well, what about this one? I think it's pretty much done. And they're like, oh yeah, okay, we'll learn how to do that one. I was like, okay, well how about this one? Here's a little bit of a riff and like a little bit of a melody. And like a week later, they had a bunch of lyrics for that one too. So all of a sudden we had all these songs, and then we wanted to play them.
We just started doing open mics.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
I'm from Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, my name is Rhett. I play the drums, and I'm actually a Savannah native. And I joined these guys already when they had gotten all that songwriting done. And it was actually through the open mic scene. First time I met you guys was at a Feather and Freight. But of course, it was the wormhole where I think I was the first place I actually started jamming with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So I really don't have more to add to that.
When did you start drums?
I started as a percussionist actually when I was 10, but moved to the drum set when I was 16.
Before meeting up with these folks, what were you doing musically?
I play with a couple of different bands, but this is definitely the one that has the highest priority. I mean, the busiest, thankfully. Busier still would be good. I also maintain multiple jobs to keep music as the first passion. My primary form of income outside of music is as a tour guide, actually.
And you should definitely take Rhett's tour. It's actually pretty awesome.
It's true.
He's actually really talented at that.
He is very talented.
And I wouldn't just say that.
It's true.
Telling jokes and drinking.
Yeah.
And just like handing it up. That's definitely his specialty.
There's also why they don't give me a microphone on stage.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm Dennis. I play the bass and do a lot of the managing for the band. My father was a bass player. When I was a kid, he played a lot of Southern rock. There were cover bands that he was a member of in and out of my house pretty much every weekend. Sometimes Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, people were in my house playing music. My grandfather, his dad was a bass player, but he mainly played bluegrass and played a lot of the upright bass and bluegrass. So, but when I was a kid, I played harmonica and guitar and some other things, but I never really got into the bass till 4 or 5 years ago, maybe. I got a bass and started playing it little by little, and pretty quickly it became my favorite instrument to play.
But that's not your only musical contribution, just a bass player. You're also our rapper.
Yes,
That's right.
the quote-unquote rapper for the band. Actually, my lyric writing background, I used to write a lot of, I guess you could call them poems, but they had more rhythm. They weren't just poetry. When I was a teenager and in high school, and I did a lot of freestyle rapping when I was in undergrad, so I try to contribute as much as I can on lyrics. I think I'm more of a quantity of lyrics rather than quality. I really like the quality of the lyrics that Ann and Jason come up with, but they're way more patient with that process, I think, than I am. I just write a bunch of stuff. Usually I just write a lot of stuff and I get Jason to pick what he likes. And it's actually worked quite well on a number of songs. Like if I feel inspired with a certain song, I will just write a lot of material and he'll just parse out what he likes and add it to things that Ann has written or things that he has written. And the writing process has been really, really good with this group. I think we're constantly having at least 1 or 2 songs in the pipeline that we're working on.
Yeah, I think we're up to 30 songs right now. And granted, some of those I came into the band with them, but a big chunk of them are ones that we've developed in that time. And I think the creative process has been really rewarding. Usually I will kind of come to the group with, 3 or 4 musical ideas, and maybe out of those 4, maybe we'll pick 1 or 2. Sometimes with lyrics, but usually without. And then sometimes there'll be one that Dennis sort of thinks that he might be able to write some lyrics for, so he takes responsibility for that one. So maybe there's a couple of chord progressions and a basic outline of how the tune will go, and then he writes lyrics, or maybe one that Ann sort of takes, or maybe one that I sort of keep for myself and I try to work on the lyrics for. But yeah, I really enjoy that. Sort of write a little bit of music and then give it to one of these guys, and then a couple weeks later get it back, and it's like, oh yeah, okay, not what I was thinking when I wrote the music, but that's pretty cool. Let's go with that, and I really like it.
Well, I think that's also another thing that speaks to the strength of this band is with other bands that I play with, I wouldn't naysay any of them, but by far this is the most organized and relaxed group I've ever been a part of. I think that's why we're able to do what we do, and setting goals and achieving those goals. We always have an idea of where we want to go, and we can see the progress towards that. But I think also the aspect of seeing, for the most part, 3 different people coming together with those songs, because I don't do any songwriting myself. It's not my talent. But watching that creative process happen, in a lot of other bands, usually just one person doing pretty much all that lifting, that heavy lifting and songwriting, and having 3 people contribute to those pieces. It's definitely interesting. I think it gives a lot of the songs diversity as well, because most of Ann's songs are love songs.
Yeah, you can pick those out pretty.
So
I write about love.
You can see those
Typical
influences.
girl.
Come on now.
Sometimes
It's in Portuguese. She's fooling you.
That's normally how that goes. This song's in Portuguese. It's a love song.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of songs have that influence of you can just feel one person, and then there are a lot of the songs where I think you see the influence of all 3.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's also why a lot of bands begin to sound the same song to song, but I don't think that's something you'll ever hear with us, since there is 3 different people contributing to the direction of that song. And even with the drum beats, a lot of times they have an idea where they want to go with that, and I'll take the hints and try to produce what they hear in their head.
Oh, and by the way, the heavy breathing that you hear periodically is the 5th member of the band, but that 5th member is very silent and is not involved in the musical creation of the band, so we will not be talking to that 5th member.
I think he is the official mascot, though.
He is for sure.
He's definitely heard more of our music than
any other being outside
That's
of us.
exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Yes, he's
Sorry.
always he's always present for all of our practices, right?
He's a
pug.
pug.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pug.
Okay, so he's a pug.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He's also been out of town with us, I think.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
That's right.
He's a little road dog.
he goes with us.
he's actually seen our shows at venues.
Mhm.
Like some venues will let us bring him in, and he'll sit in the corner. So he's like seen us play 3-hour shows actually.
He's a Brazilian pug, by the way.
A Brazilian
He
pug.
sure is.
Huh.
Bigger than the average.
Mhm.
I
Little
should
bit
say
bigger.
The average, the American.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what pudgy means pudding.
Pudding, yes, in Portuguese.
Oh, I
that's
see.
the
Does
only bit
not
of
mean
It means pudding.
doesn't mean pudding.
It means pudding.
It's like
It's just that pudding
it's a
in
dessert
Brazil.
similar to flan.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just- he
To
has
flan.
it.
Okay.
We've heard this many times.
Why the name?
I don't know. I think we just liked the way it sounded. We had a pretty big list of at least 50 things, and I don't know. I thought it sounded a little campy, which I kind of think our music touches on that occasionally. So I kind of liked it, and it wasn't taken.
Yeah.
There were some things that were kind of close, but it wasn't specifically taken. That's why I voted for it.
Well, it came up when one of the original members of the band and I were chatting, and we were thinking of names to put on that list that he's talking about. And we were running names through software programs and using the letters of our names.
Yeah.
And he said, well, what's Anne's maiden name? And I said, well, it's Dos Santos. He said, okay. I said, My Maiden Name. That sounds good. And I just wrote it on the list, and it was there for months.
And I also kind of like it. It sort of speaks a little bit to your true identity. Some of our songs, I think, are a little bit about way one used to be. And when I write the lyrics, that's a pervasive theme. I like the way it sounded. There's kind of an alliteration there, and I don't know. Like I said, it was available.
I think our songs are kind of reflective
Mhm.
in looking at how things used to be.
I joined with that name, but what I find humorous about it is all the different names people come up with.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
We've been called My Iron Maiden, My
Yeah.
Maiden Voyage,
My
Right.
Maiden Voyage, we've been called.
My Marvin's Game.
Mother's Maiden Name.
Yeah, my mother's maiden name or something like that.
My Fair Maiden. We've gotten that.
My Fair Maiden. So yeah, it's been more fun like when people mess the name up. Yeah.
I'm almost sorry now I got it correct.
Right.
Well, you can re-record your part.
Now, when you're at a venue that is primarily a listening room, the emphasis, at least in my experience, has been originals. In an average gig, however, what's the balance?
We've never played a cover.
Right.
Never?
Ever.
No.
Not even in practice.
That's true. That's true.
And that is pretty restrictive. There's a very traditional trade-off here. If you want to get the gigs and make some money, they kind of expect you to play your Guns N' Roses and Red Hot Chili Peppers and Tom
Freebird.
Petty.
No.
Exactly.
We get a request for Freebird.
But we have always pushed back on that, and some places say, sorry, that's not what our crowd wants, and we just say, okay, no problem. And Dennis just sends out another 5,000 emails.
Right.
We've had a good time playing our music, and
for sure.
I have nothing against bands who like to play covers, but I don't know, I feel like if I went up there and played a cover and someone said, man, good job, I would say, well, okay, you like the song, great, I'll make sure I tell the Red Hot Chili Peppers that you like their song next time I see them. It's not something that I really wanted to do. I would much rather play to tiny crowds, which we do with some frequency, even if only like a couple people are kind of into it. I get a lot more pleasure out of that. A few people really enjoying it than, I don't know, a whole room of people enjoying somebody else's song.
Well, and I think we are able professionally to have that luxury.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right.
Because this, hopefully getting close to sustaining itself and paying for hotels and gas and food, but it's certainly not paying any of our personal bills. And being that we have regular full-time jobs, we have limited time to spend on music. And I think we all feel we would rather spend what limited time we do have to devote to music, to writing and creating our own material.
I'll second that.
Yeah, I think the creative part's important to us.
Sure.
That's
Yeah, that's definitely a huge part of it. Like what Dennis said, if I've only got a limited number of hours, I would much rather sit down and try to work out a new song or come up with some lyrics for one of our songs than to sit down and try to learn somebody else's song. And not everybody feels that way, and that's cool too. But that's the way I would choose to spend my musical time. Right. You had something to add?
I was just going to say, I think it speaks to the strength of this band is that because, in particular here in Savannah, that a lot of venues do want, if anything, more covers than originals. We play more out-of-town shows than in-town shows.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think to the strength of our band, we know where our strengths and weaknesses are, and we pursue those.
I have tailored my initial contact with venues dramatically over the past year because I'm accustomed to their question, and now one of the first statements I make is that we're an all-original band. So sometimes that has decreased the response rate, but I'm not wasting time talking to someone that I find out wants us to play.
It's good to be upfront with that.
Very, very good.
I mean, mainly to Dennis's credit, most of the work for getting our shows, and that process has continued to evolve, as it should. But we see it become more and more successful as well. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've been pleasantly surprised at the shows we've been able to play. I mean, everywhere from Birmingham to Miami to we got a show in Greensboro, Charlotte coming up. So we've actually seen a lot of the Southeast, I guess.
That's true.
The next weekend we'll be in South Florida again.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, Orlando and then
Miami. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty cool to get to see these places and play our songs that we work really hard on.
And
that's cool.
What's also really cool is a lot of the venues that will have an all-original band are the types of places I would like to hang out anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
So we get to go to dive bars who may have 4 bands playing in a night, all playing original music. And I really like those kinds of venues. So even if our show is short, we're spending time at a place that, even if we weren't playing there, a lot of these places are places we would probably frequent if we lived in that city anyway.
Yeah, a lot of places that are sort of similar to the late Hang Fire, which I know is no longer operating, but similar to that are into original music and are just cool places to spend an evening. So you go up there, play a 45-minute set, and then hang out and have a few beers. I mean, it's fun.
Yep.
Now, it sounded like from Jason's introduction that you sort of started with riffs from Jason, poetry from Dennis. But as the discussion has gone on, it's gotten a little bit more complicated in terms of, well, maybe Jason will contribute a lyric to something. Now, is that a fresh, new lyric, or is that working on something that Dennis may have contributed?
Wait, so I kind of had that one on the shelf, music and lyrics for the verse and the chorus, and we played it, and we all really liked it, and we were really excited about it. The only verse and a chorus, it needs a third bit. So, I don't know, one day I was home for lunch, and I kind of grabbed the guitar, and I was like, it'd be cool if there was kind of like a little breakdown part. And that's all I had to say to Dennis. The next day, the double but I'm sure about his true intention. True intention, or could it be my own indecision? So yeah, Dennis wrote that really cool, the lyrics for that really cool bridge, and then it all just kind of smushed it together. And
yeah, because I commute by bicycle to work, and I wrote that one morning riding my bicycle to work. I couldn't get the rhythm and the melody out of my head that Jason had showed me like a few days before. And I don't know, Ann and I had just finished this series called Rev, R-E-V. It's a British series that was on Hulu. And this is not at all what Jason was thinking of the song, but to me the song sounds very spiritual. And like, never gonna stop the weight behind me on my own. Like, that on my own part meant something different to me. It never mattered much for making money. Kind of was like the separating from materialism. That's how I interpret it. He had different meanings, but this is what it meant to me. So I wrote that song based on the final scene of Rev. It was one of the most powerful wrap-up of a series I've ever seen. The last 5 minutes was unbelievable, and that last 5 minutes of that show was the inspiration for writing that bridge. That's why I ended the bridge with the weight, the load, and the heavy burden takes its toll on this reverent servant. And that was kind of, that came from that show. That was the inspiration.
The verse and the chorus are more about never going to stop behind me on my own, so never going to stop the passage of time and things build up, and can never handle all that on your own. But the reality is we all are in our own way, no matter how many people we have around us. We all are alone in some way, so never going to stop the weight behind me on my own. But you are in your own, so you're not going to stop it. Eventually, you'll die, I guess.
Which I think is fitting with the spiritual aspect. It's really interesting. Most discussions of meaning come like
ex post.
Yeah. That's what I was looking for. Most discussions of meaning, we try not to persuade someone else in their writing. Whatever we have at that moment, whatever it means to them, is what it means to them. But then when we come together, it's like, this is what I was thinking when I wrote this part to this song. So some of the songs are like, we were all thinking very, very different things.
1, 2, 3, 4. Never gonna stop the weight behind me on my own. Never gonna stop the weight behind me on my own. On my own. On my own. On my vision. Wasn't quite sure about his true intention, or could it be my own indecision? I was talking to a lady with a double meaning. Wasn't quite sure she was being deceiving, or could it be my own disbelieving? I was talking to myself the double time and wasn't quite sure how it was implied, or could it be my own denying? The weight and the load and the heavy burden takes its toll on this reverend son, and I sing for reasons undetermined. There was something in the way you made me lie down and feel like it could be more. There was something in the way you made me cry out and feel as I could be fine. There was something in the way we never were the ones to say. There was something in the way you're right. Never gonna stop the way behind me on my own. Never gonna stop the way behind me on my own. Never gonna stop the way behind me on my own. Never gonna stop the way behind me on my own. There was something in the way you made me lie down and feel like it could be more. There was something in the way you made me cry out and feel as I could before. There was something in the way we never were the ones to say. There was something in the way you're right.
Some are just a blank slate lyric-wise. Always is a great example of that. Had some musical ideas, and Dennis knocked out probably my favorite lyrics that you've written.
You always want
And that was just some tuning over some chords that I just provided to these guys. I think they actually both worked on it.
Yes.
I really enjoyed that. Either when I provide something, whether there's maybe some idea for the song, and then it kind of comes back, and then I kind of think about the arrangement, and then I bring it back to the group, and we say, actually, I think it'd be better this way. That's my favorite part. I mean, I enjoy the performing too, but that's my favorite part, when I kind of see the song finally forming, and there's like some holes in it that I wasn't able to think of myself, and then it's like, oh yeah, that is a really good idea. I really enjoy that part.
You're listening to WRUU-LP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul. If your business enjoys the programming on WRUU-LP, please support the station with a donation. Let your customers, neighbors, and friends know that you share our vision of building a thriving economy based on a diverse and vibrant community. Our listeners will know you support Savannah's only broad-based community radio station. Become a tower sponsor or underwriter. To check out the levels of corporate sponsorship and to donate, go to www.wruu.org/corporate. Again, to check out the levels of corporate sponsorship and to donate, go to www.wruu.org/corporate. Thank you for listening to and supporting WRUU-LP. You're listening to Music Local and Sustainable, and I'm your host, Dave Lake. Tonight, we're with My Maiden Name.
I have really enjoyed some of the songs that Ann and I write together. It's the least amount of fun I have during the writing process because she has a very critical mind, not just of other people, but of her internal voice. Like, she's very critical of how things have to be before it ever reaches paper or ever gets to the point of sharing with someone. And so I am much more quantity. And so two of the songs that Ann and I really worked through the lyrics together are Not Too Late and Dream. Mm-hmm. And those songs we sat down and wrote together, and they took a lot longer than like if I were just writing the lyrics.
We did.
But I really liked the outcome, and both of those songs are going to be on the new album.
Which in fact is one of my favorite ones that we do.
Dream.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
have
definitely
fun
a
on the
fun
tops
one
on
to
that
play live. Yeah, actually, we're working with Kellen Powers. He produced our first EP. We were really happy with it, and I think he's really doing a great job on our forthcoming album as well. But yeah, Dream was kind of a cool one. The music was written about matrix algebra, and the lyrics are written about what?
Well, for me, it was about like a near-death experience.
So, and I think Ann and I agree, and maybe all of us now, that there are 3 stages to the song. The stages for her are stages you go through for pre-near-death experience, during near-death experience, and post-near-death experience.
Dream Voices in your head, remember what they said. Voices in your head, remember what they said. And I'm losing my mind. He's never been so near. Feel nothing left to fear. Stay, this journey is what I've got. Light starts with just a spark, and I can hear every beat of my heart. Voices in my head, remember what they said. Voices in my head, remember what they said. Am I losing a piece of my mind that was never there? Voices in my head, remember what they said. Voices in my head, remember what they said. Remember this piece of mine, it's always near.
The Brazilian influence. It's in the lyric, but there's a Brazilian beat, there's Brazilian influence of the music as well. Do you influence Jason to create some of the stuff, or do you do that music?
You mean, are you telling me you hear something Brazilian?
I hear that Brazilian sort
yeah.
of underpinning of the music as well as the lyric.
Well, that's an interesting thing that you said. I mean, I grew up listening to bossa nova. I grew up listening and singing to all those old famous bossa nova songs. I love them. But there was this, so I don't know that I influenced you in any way. I don't know how to answer that.
Well, you definitely had an influence. Like, it's something where some of the rides, we've actually listened to some things she wanted to listen to give an idea for certain beats that she'd like to hear on some songs.
Right.
And definitely there are some songs that, with Anne's input, have been influenced by that Brazilian background.
Okay.
Like, No Encanto, for instance.
Yeah, and then also I feel like the newer one, Veju,
Yeah.
that there was at least, I don't know if you started singing something that to me was very similar to the song that I had played for you guys, saying that there's something about this style, it's Brazilian music from the Northeast that I thought would be really a good fit with Veju, and so I don't know if it was without meaning to, but something.
I was very, very happy to see what the song that became known as Veju, which means in Portuguese to see.
Yes.
I was very happy to see that musical idea see the light of day.
Vejo que nada que amo é meu, tudo que sei que tenho é teu. Levo os meus laços nos traços das mãos, vejo que faço e que nada é em vão. Vejo o cerrado se abrindo em flor, novas cigarras clamando calor, vento que bate saudades e então vejo seus passos na casa pilão. Busco a paz do meu sertão, a chuva traz o perdão. Entre as cordas do seu violão, toca o meu coração. Vejo que nada que amo é meu, tudo que sei que tenho é teu. Levo os meus laços nos traços das mãos, vejo que faço e que nada é em vão. Busco a paz no meu sertão, a chuva traz o perdão. Entre as cordas do seu violão, toca o meu coração. Gira e volta, pôr do sol nasce depois. Fica e passa, tudo é será e foi. Terra Santa, luz levanta, volto de onde eu vim. Flor, estrela, cor vermelha, começo sempre tem fim. Gira e volta, pôr do sol nasce depois. Fica e passa, tudo é será e
I put it on the table multiple times and it always got rejected. Because usually I would bring 4 or 5 ideas. It's, oh, how about these 2? And was like, all right, what's wrong with this one?
That's not what it was, right? It's a matter of time and,
It was just persistence. And then I snuck in there in a new batch. And that happened like 3 times. I was like, really, I want to get this song worked on a little bit because I had some lyrics for it, but I was not very attached to them. I was very happy to let this one go and be a blank slate. I liked the tune of it, and I liked the music. And then finally, Dennis was, because we had a couple Portuguese songs which were kind of slow love songs. Dennis was like, we need a Portuguese rock song. I'm thinking, scheming. I might have something that I think might be good. I don't know. Let's see if I can remember it. What do you think, Ann? And she was like, okay, all right, here's the melody, here's the tune, please, by all means, have at it. And actually, I love it. I think it sounds great. I think it's actually one of my favorite songs to play live these days. You're talking about Beiju.
Yeah.
It is such a fun song to play.
Well, and I wrote those lyrics when I went back to Brazil this last time, so it has a lot of meaning to me. Like, it was about going back home.
Now, that sounds like a sentimental song, but it really rocks out.
Yeah, yeah. But I think everything I write is going to be sort of sentimental. I mean, I feel like it's hard for it to not be. Yeah. Which is why I think it takes so long for me to write anything. Like, get any lyrics out there. It's just...
I think Beiju is our newest song being played live right now. I don't think we've played anything newer than that.
Yeah, we've got some more working on, but we haven't.
Yeah.
Played live?
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah, I couldn't think of.
I feel really lucky because I feel like I'm kind of in a position where some songs are kind of like songs that I work on with Ann. Some are like Dennis and Jason songs. Some it's like all of us, and then there's a couple that are just me, I guess. The really twisted ones. As Brett was saying earlier, they all have their own flavor. Like there's a couple like I think really cool and nice songs, a couple cool Dennis and Jason songs.
Did
Yeah,
you have
I'm
that
actually
flavor?
very happy about some of the things that are in progress, which
Me too.
it'll be like a year before these are ever put on an album, but maybe they'll start getting some stage time. I think we're reaching in this album, though, we're reaching into some of our going through the rough stages and learning how to work together. I think some of the songs that are coming on this upcoming album, we've gotten through a lot of that, what is our identity, and we really started learning how to work together and use each other's strengths, and I think it shows into this next album. It seems that we've really learned how to work together, and we've become a bit more efficient at how we use our time and use each other's times in creating these new songs. I'm looking forward to the new album.
Yeah, me too. I know everybody has to say that about their upcoming album. But I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
It sounds like the creative process is continuing on stage in terms of the development of the songs.
Songs definitely morph. Not usually intentionally, but sometimes, I don't know, I guess everybody makes mistakes sometimes. And I'm like, oh, actually, that sounded pretty cool.
Right.
Or I guess maybe some songs start off as kind of more slow, relaxed, and then we accidentally play a little faster, or I forget to turn the distortion off or something. I'm like, oh, actually, that could be a cool rock song. Or vice versa. I mean, I'd say Not Too Late is probably the best example of that. That started off as an acoustic, slow. I didn't even actually initially anticipate drums at all for that song. And then I think on a whim, I played it electric with drums one night at practice. And then I think Dennis and I looked at each other and were like, okay, we're never playing it the old way again.
And we haven't.
We haven't.
I think we went back one time, you played it acoustic because we had to play 2 hours of acoustic music. So a lot of our songs that I can't say never, but we rarely play acoustic. We played for that show.
Charleston.
Yeah, Charleston. Yeah. When you're trying to cover a 2-hour gig with just originals, that's tough.
Acoustic originals.
Acoustic originals. Yeah.
Especially when we've been doing this for 2 years?
Semi-seriously for a year. The first year was...
That's what I'm saying. I think we're getting into this album's going to reflect that next stage.
Now, the electric versus the acoustic, what do you write with?
Historically, the acoustic, but these days more and more the electric. I feel like I've had so much more fun with the electric songs because it's more fun to just crank up the distortion. Brett's banging the crap out of the drums. Dennis is playing a cool rock and bass line. I feel like I've had more fun with those songs, so I guess that's sort of where when I sit down, I more often grab the electric these days, I would say. But then
that
again,
has changed over time.
That has definitely
when
changed
you were
over
writing
time.
by yourself, you just sat with
because the acoustic doesn't require you to flip a switch and turn something on, so it's one less step. So it's easier just to grab the acoustic and strum. That was definitely 90% of my pre-band life, just kind of strumming chords on the acoustic. But I think also I've done a lot more writing sort of for Anne, so things that I know that she's going to be able to sing really well. So I feel like as we've worked more together, there's some songs that I can hear it in my head the way she will sing it. I think it's really cool to have this high, sweet voice really rocking out. I feel like I can kind of hear what she could do with it in my head, and therefore I've been writing more to that. Not that I don't like our acoustic stuff, because I really do. One of my favorite songs that we do is Fault Line. That's an acoustic one.
You said it never mattered, but it mattered to me to pass another empty day, out of step with the thought of our time. Remember how we dreamt about a flying machine that could spirit us so far away from the winds and the walls deep inside. Never should have built along a fault line. I will not hide. Try to keep your balance on a high line with winds at your sides. You saw it from a window when you happened to look. Those lines you read, they passed you by while you wandered through halls in your mind. You made yourself a home inside the pages of books and stories you could find your way. Languid years pass so slow, somehow gone. Never should have built along a fault line. I will not hide. Try to keep your balance on a high line with winds at your side. With everything I have, with everything I have, with everything I have, with everything. I woke up and you told me that I wouldn't believe what had happened while I slept away. Every theme of a youth left behind. They found it underwater in the deepest of depths, a place we never thought we'd know. Free from sin and the burden of time. Never should have built along a fault line. I will not hide. Try to keep your balance on a high line with winds at your side.
That was written fairly recently. I guess that one's just about the character in the song who really cares about this person who's just letting their youth slip through from being lost in their own mind and their own thoughts and just so introspective about everything, and this external person trying to pull them into life, being more active, and how that can be frustrating for that person, trying to pull this person out of this state. And then the last part, sort of after the bridge, they've squandered their youth in their own mind and being so introspective, wishes that there's some external means that you'll be woken up and be told that you can go back, you're unburdened by time, you could redo everything that you squandered. Last verse is more of sort of like the ultimate fantasy of this person rather than something that actually happened.
Tonight, we've been with My Maiden Name at the rehearsal. I want to thank you guys and gal so much for letting me come and share with my audience your band.
Thank you
very much.
Thank
for coming.
you. Yes. Thank you.
Who doesn't like to talk about themselves for 3 hours?
This has been another edition of Music Local and Sustainable, and I've been your host, Dave Lake. Save this time for another show next week.
Well, I know we ain't headed for the Hall of Fame. Gonna give it what we got, man, that ain't no shame. Let me know if you can hear me. Check, check, 1, 2. Let me know if you can hear me. Check, check, 1, 2.